Well, all right, okay, here we go. It's the one and only, the real homie. If you really know me, back again with another Friday Night Vibe exclusive. I know it's been a minute since we talked about yours truly and the journey to becoming T.K.A.S.H at one point in time in life. Now, a lot of people know already what I'm going to say. When we say T.K.A.S.H, yeah, it started off in a certain place, but it's definitely grown. And I don't want to use the word evolved. I think when people talk about evolution of themselves in first person, it can sound really vain and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go there. What I will say is this: time has changed the definition of who T.K.A.S.H is, right? And these segments chronicle the moments in time appropriately so you can see when and how those changes took place. All right. But first, we got to get there. We'll get to where? How I even became T.K.A.S.H in the first place. And we're almost there. All right, here we go. So the last time we left off, I talked about becoming a reporter on a show called First Cut. First Cut was a teen magazine show in an NBC affiliated KRON TV, right? That's different from the KRON we know now in the Bay Area, Channel 4, right? But the idea is at that time, a lot of things took place for me with First Cut and Channel 4 at a time where it was like, not like, let me stop. It was, I believe, in my heart and in my head, divine intervention, right? Well, intervention in what, brother? What are you talking about, man? Everything seemed to be so good. You were so young, going through all of this fantastic, marvelous stuff, man. A lot of exposure. Yeah, yes, and the reason why everything was so good when it came to Bay Area hip hop, Bay Area rap, was because I finally had something concrete, and I shared this in the other segments, right? I finally had something concrete that I was able to latch on to and really help me pivot away from all of the toxic options that a lot of us had growing up in Oakland at our disposal. You know what I mean? Drugs, alcohol, crime, fucking gang-related activity. Not like Crips and Bloods, but in a different way, right? But I say that to say, at this time, being on Channel 4 at such a young age, doing something that I wanted to do in an environment that I wanted to be in, priceless, okay? So, so let's start there when it comes to two people. Herm Lewis, Young Selsky. What the hell? Why? Why are you talking about them right now? I'll tell you why. This was an interesting turn of events, man. So my very first story for First Cut, after I got the job, like we talked about before, got a referral from my boy Kasimu from the East Bay Banker Boys Club. I went out to San Francisco, auditioned for the role as a reporter for the show, and I got it. So there you go. And I'm doing my first segment. And the first segment was in Lakeview, the Lakeview area of San Francisco, the Lakeview neighborhood. I forgot the name of the community center, but it was very close to Ocean View Park. You know what I mean? And it was all about alternative activities, man, to keep young people out of trouble. And two people that were there that, to my surprise, and in a good way, really laced me up on what was happening in the community at that time. Herm Lewis, Young Selsky. So we talked, and I had the microphone and shit, and I was, what do you think about blah, 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 the yakety schmackety? I'm a teen reporter, First Cut. So they were asking the questions and shit, right? I kid you not. Here is how those two artists, those two figures, catapulted me into another stratosphere of wellness, man. And it sounds all loopy and spaced out and shit, but hear me out. I was on public transportation, okay? Still overweight, close to 250. Definitely some insecurities about my ethnicity at the time. I was still proud to be African American and Filipino, but definitely some insecurities about myself. I didn't have a car. I had insecurities about girls, although that's a whole nother segment. Being in high school, I made it work. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I'm saying that is having the distinguished honor of being a young man, 50, no, excuse me, 16, 17, going on 16, going on 17, and being entrenched in Bay Area hip hop to the degree that now I'm not riding shotgun with Casimo. I'm not kind of, you know, an apprentice in that sense. I'm branching out and doing my own thing. Having that opportunity that day with Selsky and Herm, I got on public transportation and went back to the hood that same night. Got off the bus. You think I'm lying? Look, I'm from Oakland. I caught the the um, I caught the Fremont train at the what Civic Center bar station. Got off downtown Oakland City Center, 12th Street, and got on the 14. The bus 14 goes through East 18th Street, right? Got off the bus, and I got off on 11th Avenue in East 18th. I walked up the hill. All of my homies was hanging out. I'm from North Oakland, but I had a lot of homies. We stayed in the same apartment building on East 18th. So they said, man, where you been at, man? What's been going on? Do you know how magnificent, you know what I'm saying? You know how good it felt for me to just say, man, I was hanging out with Herm and Selsky, man. People was like, what? I mean, everybody's mind was blown, man. And it was the truth. That's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I was hanging out with Herm and Selsky. And it was for a TV show. It was for me being on TV at a time where, we didn't have social media. The media, we had, let me say this. The smartphone, the tablet, the internet, television, broadcast television was the equivalent at the time. So everything this generation talks about, as far as going viral and the like, just being on a screen. You know what I mean? You could be on something that used to be called, because you used to call it public access cable television. Anything was viral at the time. So for me to get off of the bus with the insecurities that I had regarding the bus and everything else that was going on with me, and to walk up to the homies and say something like that, thank you, KRON TV. Thank you, Herm Lewis. Thank you, Young Selsky. And you know what? Them dudes probably don't even remember me, man. I'd be surprised if they did. But just in case, they don't, that's why I'm bringing up this segment. The summer of 1995, y'all. We talked about this in the other segment. Well, I talked about this in the other segments, but, I'm going through this thoroughly because in a minute, this is going to accelerate, and I'm going to really be more proactive about not necessarily becoming K.A.S.H, but giving you kind of director's cuts from moments that impacted me and affected me, such as how I started Ransom Records, right? What led me to fold Ransom Records, what led me to even start with Funk Mob Records and Solar Music Group out of Stockton. How did I even get to Stockton like that? How did that even end up the way it was? How did I meet Boots, DJ Pam the Funksters, Paris, Gorilla Funk, and then some of the more recent recordings that I did. Not super recent, but some of the more recent recordings that I did. Some of the ups and the downs, why I stopped becoming K.A.S.H, running, all of it. It starts really, 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 really far back in time. It doesn't start like not even 10 years ago. It starts around this time when I was in high school. So I'm saying that to say, let's stay in the present moment. We're back not in the present moment. Let's stay in the present tense moment for that time. Summer 95, I got off the bus. I was talking to the homies. oh man, I was hanging out with Selsky and Herm and shit, and everybody was like, damn, that's crazy, man, that's dope. Um, that is that is when and where and why I mean I was cemented in becoming my own person, my own entity, for whatever that meant, on whatever level it was becoming that I couldn't see at the time. When it comes to Bay Area rap, Bay Area hip hop, was I a full fledged rapper at the time? No, I was not. But was I involved in Bay Area hip hop as if I was a rapper? Yes, I was. Because it wasn't like I stopped rocking with Kasimu and K.A.S.H. It wasn't like I stopped trying to rap. It's just I wasn't a rapper at that time. But I still participated. Okay, next up, Summer Jam 1995. Oh my gosh. Ooh-wee. Summer Jam 95. Do you know I was there? And there's a perspective that I have on it, given all of the events that took place. One event in particular. And it's not to stir the pot or bring up old memories. It's just, I, you'll learn about what happened from my perspective, the way I saw it, right? So, okay, I digress. That's it. Thank you for your patience. We will be back sooner than you think. It's the original Friday Night Vibe. Hip hop, health, healing from the Northern California perspective. I'm taking my time on this one though, all right? I want you guys to all understand how everything happened for me. And when I say everything happening, that's not just music. That's not just music, okay? Okay, thank you so much for your time. And we will be back soon. Peace.